So now that we understand design in general, let's talk more about design for good. So this idea of design for change, design for social impact, and human-centered design. Design for good often encompasses a broad set of ideas that all kind of interrelate with one another. These ideas include design for social impact, design for change, and human-centered design. When we're looking at all these ideas behind design and channeling them into social movements that are meant to help spark positive social change, that's what we're talking about when we say design for good. Whether it's through charity-centered design work and campaigns or a larger scale social movement, design for good takes design thinking and human-centered design and focuses it to build creative solutions that make the world a better place. Design for social impact or social change is the practice basically of interrogating systems, essentially shaking things up in relation to institutional, economic, social, political, interpersonal, so that we may define opportunities for change that give voice to those who have been disenfranchised or marginalized by society and even by design. The idea of what happens when design is employed to make a difference is literally brought to life when we're creating in this space. In many cases, we see design for good looking to help solve social problems and create change. We see a lot of it in social justice causes like Black Lives Matter or the Sunrise Movement, or through programs like Everyone, Every Day, where designers in East London help communities rebuild connections for people in low socioeconomic communities with simple acts of sharing food, skills, and making things together, which then led to opportunities to build micro businesses. Design for Good connects designers and communities and allows for creative problem solving. This concept is always applying the ideas behind human-centered design. Human-centered design mindsets and tools applied to these incredibly social problems that surround us, like poverty, homelessness, child abuse, financial exclusion, hunger, racism, and it allows us to creatively problem solve to help create change. We see this a lot in advocacy and in activism, but that's not the only place where this is happening. Design is finding a seat at the table in policy development, traditional nonprofits, international development, social impact consulting, corporate social responsibility, and social good think tanks, and so much more. It's really important to note, though, that when we're doing design for social impact or design for good, designers are often given a lot of power, proposing to work on behalf of people who have traditionally been excluded from power. Encountering that vulnerability means that designers have to ask big questions about how they should wield their influence and control. And due to this, we're seeing the development of some newer thinking around equity-centered design. These are frameworks from the Stanford Design School and Creative Reaction Labs that have worked essentially to challenge the status quo. So why is this important? Well, it's important because some people that use design thinking are often separate from the communities that they're trying to understand. They go into the community to observe and to learn, and then they leave to create a solution. On the other hand, equity-centered community design focuses on dismantling systemic oppression and creating solutions to achieve equity for all. In these situations, I think it's vital that designers directly come from the communities that they are working in, that designers of color, designers from the BIPOC communities are uplifted in these situations and given a voice and take lead on these projects.